What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. I had a thought and I wanted to hurry up and get that thought off after I jumped off of the Millionaire Morning Show, which I just did. And that thought was based off of a super chat or a question that somebody asked me, but I'm just going to expound on it really quickly. A lot of people don't know the person that they're laying next to at all because they found them at a time in their life that they're actually doing halfway decent. You don't know the person that you're with until you actually go through something with them. And most of the time that's attached to money. Let me bring it back for a second, right? For me personally, I met the person that I wound up marrying in high school. Now, when we were in high school, and I'm gonna just give you the cliff notes for those of you that's new here. When we were in high school, I didn't actually talk to her, but that was my homie. That was a person that I really rock with, had my back, and so on and so forth. But I still viewed her as a wife, right? And so I wouldn't touch her, I wouldn't take her virginity or anything like that. And I told her, hey, listen, this is how things are gonna play out or whatever. And then I didn't think nothing of it, wound up graduating, moved on. She went to college, we wound up reconnecting because she got in contact with my mother in order to make sure that we stayed in contact and we stayed in touch, and then eventually we wound up getting married, so on and so forth, happily ever after. But here's the real part about it, right? Life didn't really start happening for us because I believe that you don't even start dating until you get married. And so I'm a huge advocate for never spending money on a woman that's not your wife. Let me say that again. I'm a huge advocate for never spending money on a woman that's not your wife. Now, we can go and break that down, and if y'all want to talk in the comments and say, Anton, I want you to expound on that, because I'm not saying that from a selfish perspective, but I'm saying it because it's a lot of women that are leveraging their box, and they're leveraging the fact that they are a woman in order to take advantage of you, while at the same time advocating for equal. But that's a whole nother conversation. I don't believe that you should spend money on women that's not your wife, or a woman that's you don't identify as your wife. So even if you're not married yet and you're in the process of setting up when y'all gonna get married and everything like that, and now y'all starting to go through the courting phase because you've already proposed to her, and it's not no forever fiance type stuff, then that's a completely different conversation. But in a general sense, when we got married, I was doing incredibly well. I was working at the steel mill. I was only 22, 23 years old. I was making over $100,000 a year. And this was back in the early 2000s, before the 2008 financial crisis and the housing crisis. When the housing crisis hit and I was working at the steel mill and then I wound up losing my job and all of that stuff, I went broke. And we wound up having to move into the basement of my parents' house. And then at the same time, she was pregnant with my daughter. And then that was just even more crazy because my daughter was born in 2008 at the height of the financial crisis. And so it was a situation where we really had to focus on learning each other because we ain't had no money. I did a live stream probably like a couple months ago where I found, she had texted it to me, and it was funny because it was a previous text message. She screenshotted it and she texted it to me and was like, remember this? And it was actually our budget. It was our budget from 2008, where I was basically breaking down, hey, listen, this is how much you need to spend on diapers. This is how much you have for yourself. And I remember the amount that she had left over after I had sent her money to pay all of the bills, and the money that she had to do whatever she wanted to do was only $25. $25, bro, until the next time that I had got paid or whatever. But we was building, we was trying to get it out the mud. And so what we wound up doing is spending a lot more time watching TV shows together. We would watch House Hunters, and we would watch a lot of stuff on HGTV because we was dreaming, you know what I'm saying? And I had these big dreams and goals and the things that I was working on. And then every opportunity that I got, I would be out and I would be going to get it. And I start, you know what I'm saying? I was working 2 jobs and all of that stuff. But when we had downtime, it wasn't no going out to eat. It wasn't no Ocean Prime and J. Alexander's and all of that. All of that junk was for yesteryear. We had made up in our mind, or I had made up in my mind, that we was gonna be down for the next 10 years until we got to a point to where we can actually start spending money. Now, we got it a little bit faster than that. And once I realized, okay, well, yep, you know, it's time to start spending some money because we forced out of this place, because eventually we moved out, but we wound up moving back next door to my parents because my mother had got sick and my father was the maintenance guy of the apartment building. And so we was basically living for free. And so we was still down. Like we was still like, you know, putting all of our money into investments, real estate, business, stocks, all of that stuff, right? And so everything that we got, we wasn't even living on the money that I was making from a regular job. Every single thing that we got, it was being deployed into things that, and it didn't mean that at that point we wasn't in a position to where, you know, we would take a vacation here or there, or we would go and travel and stuff. But essentially what I'm telling you is that I realized, and again, I was building businesses and restaurants, and I was retiring my dad and stuff. When my father died, and the stuff that we went through, whether it was from the financial stuff in 2008, or her grandmother and my father died at the same time in 2017 and stuff, you know, when that type of stuff starts to hit you, you realize who's really there for you and who's not really there for you. You know, it's a lot of people that's riding your coattails. It's a lot of people that's your friend. It's a lot of people that rock with you. It's a lot of women that really hold you down based off of the fact that they know that it's fun to be around you, or, you know, you got resources, or y'all can go and have fun. And see, money fixes a lot of problems, but money also covers up a lot of issues. Meaning that you don't really get to find out who the person truly is, how they react under duress, how they treat their parents, whether or not they're gonna still hold you down, whether they believe in you, until you get to a position where you have to put that to the test. And I'm not saying to voluntarily put yourself in that position, but I'm telling you that when you fall off, if you ever fall off, if you ever go through something, if somebody dies around you, if you go through a lull, if it's something that's happening around you that is involuntary, but is forcing you to make some uncomfortable decisions or to live an uncomfortable lifestyle for an extended period of time, that's the time that you're gonna find out whether or not that person is really with you. Now, it's very difficult for guys, once they get past a certain age and once they're getting past a certain success threshold, that's been doing it by themselves, to actually find somebody who's authentically with them. And the reason that is because you can't source out and really understand who these people are, because A, you dating, and then B, you're not able to test them because you already got it. And so when women are telling you, hey, don't date based off of potential, they basically telling you that I'm not really down for you, but I'm only really here for you for the good times. I'm not really down for you. I don't want to build with you. I don't want to shoot in the gym with you. I just want to be taken care of. And that's a recipe for disaster, because everybody at some point goes through something that your money can't hide, your money can't fix. You know what I'm saying? Your money can't solve for this particular issue. Like I said, money is an enhancement. It's a tool. It could very much fix a lot of things. And I don't want to ever go through a situation where I don't have resources again. And that's why we're very intentional about how we're going through things. But the fact that she was with me when we was getting it out the mud and through the gym, I got the opportunity to see who she authentically was. You know what I'm saying? The person that's with you when you broke is the person that's going to be down for you when you're rich. That's the person that you can trust. Very few of us can trust people nowadays, because once you get past a certain threshold, you don't know who's with you for what. And that's why I kind of feel sorry for a lot of these young NBA players and dudes like that, because they leveraging their resources and their visibility and their fame and their money in order to get with the women, but the women ain't fucking with them. They don't see them as some kind of benefit. They see them as a come up. They not with them for the authentic reasons why you would get with a person. They with them because you famous and they looking for clout. And in this internet era, it's even more clout to be had than ever before. And so you got to be careful. You got to be very, very careful. Keep your circle small. Keep your grass cut. It's people that want to see you fall. It's people that's going to take advantage of you. And then you're going to find yourself under duress based off of things that you couldn't control. And it's going to be much worse because you got things to lose and you got resources. It's easier. It's harder at the time, but it's easier to deal with when you go broke and you don't have nothing and people turn their back on you. You just seen who the snakes was. You just seen who the people was that really was rocking with you. But when you got a lot of resources and people turn their back on you, it gets way worse because the stakes are higher and the losses are bigger. And it's much more difficult to recover from that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got nowhere to go but up when you got everything. When you ain't got nothing, but when you got everything, the fall is gonna be much harder. So be careful who you rock with. Be careful who you rock out with, and who holds you down or who you got around you during times of success, because that herd is gonna slim out. It's gonna thin out once you start losing everything, or when you go through something. And sometimes you go through stuff and it's not even financial. It's not even financial. But you'll see, trust me. I know what I'm talking about. I done been here, I done done that. I done been around for a while. I done seen a lot of stuff in my life. I love you, I appreciate y'all. Hopefully y'all tune in after hours tonight and we're going to get it popping. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. The best time to tap into the Patreon is the beginning of the month. So if you guys are not a part of the Chasers, we running it up. We doing some great things, some awesome stuff that's in there for y'all. And we got Stock Club coming up on Friday. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.